Hey everybody, welcome back to another deep dive. Today we're tackling something pretty profound and honestly a little bit tricky to pin down.
Yeah.
We're talking about the fruit of the Spirit
Ooh.
and how it's different from just, doing good deeds or trying to be a good person.
Right.
And we're going to explore why this matters for any of us listening, no
Yeah.
matter what your background is or what you believe.
Absolutely.
So picture this, a world where kindness and peace aren't things you have to force,
Hmm.
but they just kind of flow out of you naturally.
Mm.
That's the kind of transformation we're going to be digging into today.
That's a really powerful image, and I think it gets to the heart of what makes this concept so fascinating.
Yeah,
It's not just some abstract religious idea.
right.
It's about how we live our lives, how we treat each other,
Exactly.
and how we find true joy.
Okay, so our source, it mentions these 9 qualities in Galatians 5:22-23. Love, joy, peace, patience, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, and self-control. Now, what makes these different from any other list of good character traits you might find out there?
Well, the key here is that they're not just actions that you force yourself to do, like checking off boxes on some kind of good person checklist.
Right, right.
These are qualities that grow from a deeper place inside of us.
Okay.
The source compares it to a branch that's connected to a vine.
I love that analogy.
Right. The branch can't bear fruit unless it's getting that life-giving sap
Yeah.
from the vine.
Okay, I get the analogy, but I think for a lot of people,
Yeah,
the question is, what's the vine in this case?
you're exactly right. That's where a lot of people get tripped up.
Yeah.
Because for those who are coming from a Christian perspective, the vine represents that connection to God, to something bigger than ourselves.
Right.
But even if you're not coming from that background, think of it as tapping into the best version of yourself,
Yeah.
the source of your own values, the things that truly matter to you deep down.
So it's less about faking it till you make it with being kind
Yeah,
and more about nurturing something deeper inside.
exactly.
So that kindness just kind of becomes a natural outflow.
Absolutely. It's like the difference between polishing an apple to make it look shiny
Yeah.
versus actually addressing the rot that might be on the inside.
Ooh, I like that.
You can try to force yourself to act a certain way,
Right.
but if the inner foundation isn't there,
Right.
it's not going to be sustainable and it's not going to be truly authentic.
This is making me think about how often I judge other people's actions.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't volunteer, they must not be a generous person.
Mm-hmm.
But what if they were going through something internally
Yeah.
that I just couldn't see?
That's a perfect example of how focusing solely on outward actions can be so misleading.
Yeah.
We don't always know the why behind someone's behavior,
Right.
and judging based only on what we observe on the surface can be incredibly unfair. It's like focusing on the apple's shiny exterior and not even considering whether it might be rotten on the inside.
Okay, so how do we avoid that trap?
Well,
Is it just about giving everyone the benefit of the doubt all the time?
it's part of it,
Okay.
but it goes deeper than that.
Okay.
This is where that distinction between works and fruit comes in.
Yeah, our source really hammered on that difference.
Yes, and it's so important.
So works being those outward actions,
Mm-hmm.
but they might not be rooted in that deeper place we were talking about.
Exactly. Think of it this way. You could volunteer at a soup kitchen because you genuinely care about helping people in need,
Right.
or you could do it to impress others, to boost your own ego.
Hmm.
The action looks the same on the surface,
Yeah.
but the motivation behind it makes all the difference.
So you could be racking up all these good deeds,
Mm-hmm.
but still be totally missing the point.
It's a real mind bender, isn't it?
It is.
But that's why the source emphasizes that it's not about earning your way into heaven by doing good deeds.
Okay.
That completely misses the whole point of the transformation that we're talking about.
So what's the point of doing good things at all?
Right.
If it's not about racking up points.
It's not that good deeds are bad.
Okay.
The idea is that they should flow naturally from that changed heart,
Mhm.
from those qualities that we were talking about earlier.
So if you're truly filled with love and compassion,
Yeah.
you're going to naturally want to express that through actions.
Exactly. It's like
Well,
it's like a natural overflow
Yeah.
of what's happening inside.
So it's not about forcing ourselves to be good,
Right.
but about nurturing
Yeah.
that inner connection
Yes.
so that goodness becomes a part of who we are.
You got it. The source even talks about how we're saved by grace,
Right.
meaning it's not about what we do.
Mhm.
It's about that connection, that relationship.
Okay.
But then we're created to do good works. That flow from that changed heart.
Okay, I think this is where it gets really interesting, and I bet for you listening too.
Yeah.
Because if it's about what's going on inside,
Yeah.
how do we know if we're on the right track?
Hmm.
And how do we even start to cultivate those qualities in the first place?
Those are the million-dollar questions, and that's exactly what we're going to be diving into
I'll
next.
give it.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah.
So you're asking, like, how do we actually cultivate these fruits of the spirit? It's like gardening, really.
Ew.
You know, you don't just scatter seeds and hope for the best.
Definitely not. Like, my thumbs are anything but green.
Right.
So are you saying we need to, like, tend to our hearts like a garden?
That's a great way to visualize it.
Okay.
The first thing you got to do is know what you're aiming for.
Right.
What does each of these fruits actually look like
Yeah.
in your life? Like, take love, for instance.
Oh.
Does it mean always saying yes to everything and everyone?
Yeah.
Or does it sometimes mean setting healthy boundaries? What does patience look like when you're stuck in traffic versus when you're dealing with a frustrating coworker?
I never thought of it like that.
Right.
Like, it's easy to have this kind of vague idea of,
Yes.
like, what love is or patience is,
Mhm.
but to actually define it for myself, like, what does it mean to me?
Yeah.
And how does it actually play out in different situations?
Exactly.
That's a whole other
Yeah.
level.
It's easy to get caught up in how we think we should be.
Hmm.
But the first step is honestly assessing where we are,
Okay.
you know? Once you have a clearer sense of your own definitions, you can start to actually notice those fruits or the lack of them
Right.
in your everyday life.
So self-awareness is key.
Absolutely.
But then how do we actually cultivate these qualities?
Right.
Do we just, like, meditate on them and hope they magically appear?
Well, meditation can definitely be helpful,
Wow.
but it's more about finding practices that really resonate with you
Mm-hmm.
and help you connect to that deeper source within. It might be spending time in nature, engaging in creative pursuits,
Yeah.
practicing gratitude, or even just taking some time for quiet reflection.
So there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Sure.
It's more about figuring out what works for each individual.
Exactly. It's like, you know, you got to experiment and see
Yeah.
what helps you tap into that inner wellspring of love,
Okay.
joy, and peace. It's like figuring out what kind of soil your garden needs
Right.
and what plants will thrive in it.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
But I think there's something else that we kind of need to address here.
sure.
You keep mentioning connecting to a deeper source.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for some people listening,
Yeah,
that might sound a bit, I don't know, woo-woo,
right.
or even like a little off-putting.
Yeah.
How would you explain that to someone who's not particularly religious
Okay.
or spiritual?
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
You don't have to believe in God or follow a specific religion
Okay.
to connect with that deeper part of yourself. Think of it as tapping into your own values,
Mm-hmm.
your own sense of purpose, the things that give your life meaning.
Yeah.
It's about aligning yourself with what truly matters to you,
Mm.
with that best version of yourself.
So getting in touch with your own internal compass, so to speak.
Exactly. And from that place,
Okay.
those qualities can start to grow more naturally.
Okay. I'm starting to see how this all comes together.
Good.
But let's be real.
Yeah,
Change is hard.
it is.
I know I can get impatient, especially when I don't see results right away.
Mm-hmm.
So what about those of us who struggle with consistency or get discouraged easily? Any advice for sticking with it?
Well, remember that gardening analogy.
Yeah.
You don't plant a seed and expect a full-grown plant the next day.
Right.
Growth takes time, and it's often gradual.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same with cultivating these qualities.
Okay.
Be patient with yourself, and don't get discouraged if you don't see immediate changes.
So it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly.
Okay.
And just like a gardener needs to consistently water and care for their plants,
Mm-hmm.
we need to consistently nurture our inner selves
Right.
if we want to see those fruits blossom.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. But here's another question that just popped into my mind.
Sure.
You mentioned how these qualities aren't isolated.
Yeah.
They're all interconnected.
Right.
How does that actually work in practice?
Well, think about it.
Okay.
Can you really have genuine love without also having some degree of patience and self-control?
That's a good point.
Right.
I guess if you truly love someone, you're going to be more willing to put up with their quirks and give them space to be themselves.
Exactly. And patience helps us to navigate challenging situations with more grace and understanding, which in turn can lead to greater peace. These qualities all support and enhance each other.
Yeah.
Like threads woven together to create a beautiful tapestry.
So it's like a positive feedback loop.
Yeah.
As you cultivate one quality,
Mm-hmm.
it makes it easier to develop the others.
Yeah. Precisely. And as you nurture these qualities, you'll start to notice a shift
Okay.
in how you experience life.
Yeah.
You'll respond to challenges with more resilience, your relationships will deepen,
Okay.
and you'll navigate the world with a greater sense of peace and purpose.
Wow. That sounds pretty amazing.
It is pretty amazing.
But I think some people might be wondering, so what? How does this actually affect my everyday life?
Yeah.
Like, it's easy to get lost in the abstract concepts,
Right.
but what are some tangible ways
Yeah.
that cultivating these fruits can actually make a difference?
That's a great question, and it brings us to the heart of why this topic is so relevant
Oh, yeah?
for all of us.
Yeah.
Because it's not just about some internal transformation,
Right.
it's about how that transformation impacts our interactions with the world around us.
So it's not just about feeling good on the inside.
Right.
It actually has an outward ripple effect.
Exactly. When we embody these qualities, we naturally become agents of positive change.
Wow.
Our actions, our words, even our presence
Mm-hmm.
can become a source of healing, hope, and inspiration for others.
So it's like we're not just changing ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We're contributing to a more compassionate and just world.
Precisely. And the more people who embark on this journey of cultivating the fruit of the Spirit,
Hmm.
the more those ripples of love, joy, and peace will spread throughout the world.
Okay, I am really feeling inspired now.
Good.
This is making me think about how often we get caught up in trying to change our external circumstances, like our jobs,
Mm-hmm.
our relationships, the world around us.
Right.
But what if we shifted that focus inward
Yeah.
to cultivating these inner qualities?
That's a powerful question.
Yeah.
And it leads us to a crucial aspect of this whole concept.
So we've been talking about how cultivating these inner qualities can actually like ripple outward and impact the world around us.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's this assumption that to actually make a difference, you have to be like
Right.
some kind of saint,
Yeah.
like Mother Teresa or something.
That's a common misconception,
Yeah.
and I'm glad you brought it up.
It feels a little daunting, to be honest.
Yeah, it's not about achieving some superhuman level of goodness or becoming a flawless saint.
No.
It's about those small, everyday acts of kindness, compassion, and understanding that we can all choose to embody.
So you're saying it's less about those grand gestures and more about those like little moments of,
Yes.
say, being patient with a grumpy cashier
Mm.
or forgiving a friend who messed up.
Exactly. Those seemingly insignificant interactions can actually have a really profound impact.
Okay.
Think about it. Have you ever had someone unexpectedly show you kindness on a bad day?
Oh, absolutely. Like it can totally turn your whole perspective around.
Yeah.
I remember this one time I was having just a terrible day, and this random guy held the door open for me with this like big, genuine smile.
Oh.
It sounds so simple, but it honestly like made my day.
You see, those small acts of kindness can have a ripple effect, spreading outwards and creating a more positive atmosphere for everyone.
Hmm.
And the more we cultivate these inner qualities,
Okay.
the more naturally those acts will flow from us.
So it's like we become these walking, talking embodiments of love, joy, peace, and all those good things just by focusing on our own inner growth.
That's the idea. And the amazing thing is this journey of transformation is available to all of us,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of our background or beliefs.
Right.
It's not about striving for perfection or trying to earn our worth. It's about nurturing that connection to something deeper within ourselves and allowing those qualities to blossom organically.
This whole conversation has been so eye-opening.
Good. I'm glad.
I think I was stuck in this mindset of, okay, I need to do more good things.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is that it's about being more
Mm.
so that the doing just naturally follows.
You've hit the nail on the head. It's about shifting our focus from external achievements
Mm-hmm.
to inner transformation,
Right.
and trusting that as we cultivate those qualities within, they will inevitably manifest in our actions and interactions with the world.
This is making me think about how often we get caught up in comparing ourselves to others,
Oh,
feeling like we're not good enough or that
Mhm.
we're not doing enough.
right.
But what you're saying is it's more about focusing on our own
Yes,
unique journey of growth.
exactly. We each have our own path,
Okay.
our own strengths and challenges, our own pace of growth.
Mm-hmm.
The key is to honor that individuality
Okay.
and to focus on cultivating these qualities in a way that feels authentic and aligned with who we are.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you really want our listeners to take away from this conversation?
If I had to choose one key takeaway,
Yeah.
it would be this. Cultivating the fruit of the Spirit is not about achieving some unattainable ideal.
Okay.
It's about embarking on a journey of self-discovery and transformation,
Hmm.
a journey that can lead to a more fulfilling and meaningful life for you and for those around you.
So instead of beating ourselves up for not being perfect, maybe we can focus on nurturing those qualities within ourselves with curiosity and compassion.
Beautifully said. It's about embracing the process of growth,
Hmm.
recognizing that it's an ongoing journey,
Yeah.
not a destination.
Okay.
And it's a journey that's filled with joy, peace, and a deep sense of purpose.
And maybe, just maybe, as we each focus on our own inner gardens,
Hmm.
we'll collectively create a world that's a little bit brighter, a little bit kinder, and a little bit more loving.
What a beautiful vision. I think that's a perfect note to end on.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We hope this conversation has sparked something within you and inspired you to cultivate your own unique expression of the fruit of the Spirit.
Until next time, may you find peace, joy, and connection in all that you do.